Okay, back with another 10NL session. Haven't got in huge volume yet at 10NL. Still also playing some 5NL because I'm not entirely happy with a lot of my play. So I want to get to a point where I'm actually happy with some of what I'm doing, or at least most of what I'm doing before I commit to playing a higher stake permanently. But, sessions have gone well at 5NL, apart from today. Actually, I had a really crummy session, down 3 buy-ins, which was a mixture of not great play and also some pretty hopeless luck. But I have run good, so can't complain about a bit of bad luck. Anyway, let's see how we got on, because this session was played Sunday the 10th of March, I think, last week. So I don't remember that much about it. I know the result, but I don't remember too much about the session other than one hand, which you can't forget. Anyway, let's have a look at what goes on. Ace Queen, please, standard stuff. Jacks, open. I seem to be tagging people if they're below full stack. Get 3-bet here. This is sort of awkward. He's on that sort of stack here where I wouldn't even hate a shove. Go for a call. We've got a guy behind us who will also probably call, and this gets tricky to play three-way. I think when a guy's got 70 big blinds, obviously I can't see from this what his stats were. If he was really tight, then I guess I understand calling. But that goes to show you why calling is often a play that's just going to lose, because the other guy calls behind. You're not going to hit a jack. An overcard comes. You don't know what to do. You end up folding. So I'm not sure what the right play is there. Whether you want to 4-bet, get it in. But, I think that was probably Queens is a 4-bet get in. Jacks is that borderline hand. Okay, 3-bet with the jack seems pretty clear. I think we're going to call here with 9-7. Get the old dream board there with the jacks. I think, yeah, the thing with the 9-7 is there. If you're going to call pre, we'd probably call in to try and hit straights and flushes and trips and 2 pairs, middle pair on that kind of board with a bag kicker. I think that's probably a fair enough fold. And jacks here, just trying to get it to showdown. Obviously can't bet it. But fortunately, our opponent does have a middle pair hand, so we're good. King Queen, I would think this is fine as either a call or a 3-bet. I think I'm leaning towards 3-bet. Yeah, I'm leaning towards 3-bet when I'm, not playing. When I am playing, I'm leaning towards being a pansy. I don't think it's a mandatory 3-bet, but I do think that button raises are just often so people are just doing it too wide, so you can 3-bet more from the big blind, and if you can do that, you can certainly do it with a hand as strong as King Queen. Slightly loose open there with 7-5. Yeah, it gets punished, and I don't really like that open. It's strange when you watch yourself back. Like, I'm too passive in some spots, in other spots I'm too loose or too aggressive, however you want to look at it. And that's why I think my game needs work, because there's so often I watch these back and I don't even agree with myself. King Jack off. It looks like my arrow's going towards looking at some stats that he's got, and I decide on a fold. King Jack suited, I think it's definitely continue. King Queen, definitely continue. King Jack off. Yeah, I think it's fair enough as a fold. Acey Deucey, I think that's probably a raise when it's suited. But I don't know. I think more I play these types of hands, perhaps I might start chucking in the bin from early position. They look pretty, but they're really tough to play, and I'm going for a okay. I'm going for a spicy 4-bet early-ish in the session. This is uh, interesting to see what I do here. I guess I would usually just go very small, and that's what I do. This I don't really love. We're getting now. What do you do now? This is just getting myself in a bit of a tangle. I think the easiest thing to start doing with this stuff is either just to fold it pre or fold to the 3-bet. Because at this point, I'm sort of in no man's land. I'm going to end up. That's a pretty good river. I still think here that yeah, very small bet is probably the right play, or a check. Anything else would be stupid. And we go with a check. Sort of surprised he checks back ace queen. I think when we play it like that, we pretty obviously don't have a hand that can beat ace queen. But I'm not really in love with how I played it in general. Don't see the need for the 4-bet pre against a guy 3-betting from that position. So yeah, just I mean, it's just a needless loss of chips in many ways. And yeah, clear bet here. Like to see another bet here with the sixes. I don't think the snap checking. Yeah, you can check, but when he snap checks, I think that's just stuff we can get value from, and he's never going to get check raised. And he's also got sixes. I don't think it's necessarily terrible not to check that back to get it to a showdown, but we can get value from a 5, and he's not going to check raises with an 8. And when he check raises that far, checks that fast, he's not going to be. I don't think he can check raise very often, so I think we could have got some value with the sixes there. As it happens, he also has sixes. Whilst I was waffling, I had a straight with 9-8 and didn't make any chips on the right. Okay, a couple of clear opens here. Definitely more 3-betting at 10 and L. Just certainly a clear difference between the two. It is more aggressive. 5 and L can often play pretty passive. You don't get 3-bet a huge amount. A jack of spades on this board. Again, we're going for a small c-bet. I think that's okay, particularly if, again, we're seeing that people are overfolding to c-bets. Jacks, again, I think this is the 3rd time. And I don't even hate a fold here. Like under the gun raise, 3-bet from second position. Yeah, I think that's fine. It's a little bit tight, but I don't think it's terrible. Queens would be terrible. Jacks, I think, is cautious, but fair enough. And calling with the sevens. I don't like doing this, to be honest, against a guy from under the gun. I think with sevens, in fact, the best play is just to fold. Um, that guy there got a little carried away with ace 10. But I think you've got too many people behind you when you've got sevens there. Someone's going to squeeze a lot. You're not going to flop a 7 most of the time. So either 3-bet it and take control of the hand or just let it go. Okay, probably going to call with these deuces. This is another spot, though, where I'm consistently you just call and check fold. Could almost argue just for a fold. Queen's easy 3-bet. Get called, get a okay flop. We do have the queen of clubs. I think A third pot here is fine. And another 3-bet. So how many 3-bets we've faced so far, but quite a few. But when we saw our opponent's cards, he had ace queen of hearts. So even though you get 3-bet a little bit more, when people 3-bet, they're not 3-betting you just willy-nilly. They do tend to have something, but they will 3-bet a little bit more, sort of closer to what I guess would be standard. In the hands like ace queen suited at 5 and L, a lot of people will just call you. Uh, that's okay with ace nine, particularly if we think he's against a min raise. I don't hate it, but again, it's just potentially getting in a little bit of trouble with ace nine offsuit. Not the greatest hand to be 3-betting with. 9-10 off here, closing the action, getting 4-1. I think is a call. And yep, call with the queen jack of spades. I think we're also going to have to call with the 9-10. I don't think we can just fold to 1-bet, just a c-bet. But if we face another bet, probably have to let it go. Yeah, I think at this stage I'm taking to an overbet. This is often going to be diamonds or a king queen or a king 10. It could also be a jack, and we are not going to call 2 bets to find out. Then that's why overbetting in those spots can be very effective. But we could have loads of jacks there, and he must. You assume he would know that. So I don't think he's necessarily going to be doing that as a bluff as often as perhaps we'd hope. Big flick suited on the right, and the easiest 3-bet of all time. I think going to 11 is absolutely fine. Seems to be getting some decent cards in the small blind, which is not really the place you want to get them. 6-9 off against a very small raise in the small blind. I think in position we can call, and I'd like to see just a call here. And I want to see a bet. Bottom two very vulnerable. We want to bet large and pretty sumptuous river. Now I want to bet big. Not that big. That's too big. Suppose I'm just working on the premise that if he has an ace with that card, he isn't going to fold it. He folded very quickly. Might have been a smidge greedy. So king queen under the gun. That's all pretty cagey, isn't it? There's no major pots as of yet. I do remember there being a couple of decent sized pots. Perhaps they were slightly later in the session. It's not a particularly long session. It's only half an hour long. And again, another 3-bet here with the queens. Queens is a hand that we will be seeing a little later. And a definite call here with Queen 10 in position. And I think this Queen Jack suited on the right. There's, I think this is the hand. You can go either way here. You can call or you can raise. I think with a guy in the big blind who's half a stack, it may not be a bad idea just to call, get them involved. And flopping top two pair, I'd say that's also one of my better ideas I've had. I'd like to see a bet. Just try and start to build a pot. Half pot is fine. We get clicked. I think that you can start shoveling in here if you want. We go for just a call, which is okay. No problem. And if he bets anything sizable here, I just shove. This guy is very, very unusual for someone to min raise the flop. And then, yeah, just in case any bad card comes to the river, just get the chips in now. He's got bottom two on the flop, and we had top two. Very, very nice. We hold up. So, yeah, easy game. Always love it when that stuff happens. Any moron could play that. And we pick up queens. Again in the small blind. A little foreshadowing there. You'll see. Obviously, I'm hanging around with a 7-5 of hearts because I'm desperate to open it. But if a guy's going to take this long, I wouldn't even hate just folding it. And again, getting a decent hand on the left here in the small blind. It's been amazing, the distribution here, that pretty much all of my good hands have been in the small blind. Yeah, I think 11 again is fine. We're going for just a small C bet, about 40%. Yeah, I think that's okay. And that's always nice, isn't it? When you get a crummy flop for your tens, you think, I'll fire off the C bet, and the guy just goes away quickly. Doesn't think about it, he just immediately goes away. Fantastic. We 10 of clubs here. Again, it depends slightly on this guy's frequency with which he three bets. I wouldn't hate a call there. I think a tendency of mine perhaps is to overfold to three bets. And you see that I've got a little tighter there. Pocket threes and ace 10 offsuit. I'm pretty sure at 5 and L I'd be opening those, but I think I've decided to just tighten up a little bit from early position by the looks of it. Make the call with the old jacket. And I'm pretty sure what we're doing on the right, I think up to 12 is fine. Yeah, no problem with that. I'm pretty sure this is just another check call on the left and probably check fold if quite a lot of rivers, but he's got plenty of, obviously that's a tremendous river. We now beat all of his one pair hands. And I don't think I want to lead with it. I think I want to give him a chance to bluff if he has like ace king, ace queen. He may even value bet still with like ace jack. Or do I write in the chat what he had? I do. He had king 9. Right? So to this point, a pretty unremarkable session. No major hands. We're gonna see bet here with our top pair, top kicker. Get cool. He donks out. Obviously not really great on this card because stuff like king queen or even king jack hearts, king 10 hearts are very possible hands. Oh, we just have an easy check back here. I don't see any reason to bet this. It'd be just too thin as a value bet. And we did get a bit unlucky there on the turn. Kojak in the big blind again in the blinds. I think this is at least a call. And again, we go down that route. I would like to see us get a bit more aggressive in certain spots from the big blind. Yeah, a lot of folding going on. A lot of folding going on. Just one of those sessions where it just doesn't really feel like there've been too many spots. I think the ace deuce earlier that was misplayed. Other than that, it's just again here raising with 7-5. I'm just not in love with this unless I can see that this guy is very passive. It's just raising with a junky hand in a bad position. I don't mind this betting large, and I don't mind that either. Turning trips. I think I'd like to see a nice chunky bet. Yep, that's fine. Probably could make it a bit larger. I actually wouldn't mind see a check here. There's all the draws have missed. Either a check or a small bet trying to induce. I think they're both okay. Against see, I think now that's another thing I'm going to have to work on is the speed at which I do things. That I absolutely snap. But if I thought about that, I could have at least considered raising like a very small bet by him there. Uh, I think that could we raise? We could certainly consider it. Queens again, blimey. So I think playing too quickly in certain spots is certainly a weakness. Going for a big bet here, I guess, with the fives. Just turning them into a total bluff on the ace. Taking it down. So you probably think right now that I think I played it okay in the session, nothing special. There's plenty of mistakes again, but not too bad. But this session is going all right, don't you? You probably think it is. Just give it a couple of minutes. If anyone's still watching, just give it a couple of minutes. Should we decide to, was that just call pre with the ace ten of hearts and then lead that board? Not sure about that. I think I know why I do it, but yeah, probably would prefer a 3-bet pre or a fold. Don't like calling from the small blind like that. Free one with the 4-6, got what we paid for. Again in the blinds with ace queen. Pretty much the vast majority of the decent hands here have been in the blinds. I've got to say, there's still actually only 300 hands here or so. There's plenty of decent cards. I've had queen several times, jack several times, ace king, post flop. Can't remember flopping too many hands. Had the trip fives a minute ago and had the queen jack flop top two pair. Other than that, it's been relatively quiet post flop. All right, can I have your attention, please, to the table on the right? We're going to raise with queens against the big blind. Now, the big blind, it wasn't, I don't know if it was a huge number of hands. He had 3-bet a lot. Now, what do you do here, right? You 4-bet, don't you? You're blind on blind. You're going to 4-bet, and against a guy who's reasonably aggressive, or frankly, almost anybody, you're going to cool off, aren't you? You're not really going to be 4-bet folding with queens in the spot. And as much as I've had this the other way at 5NL, 10NL, for some reason, this keeps happening. Can we hit a heart on the first run? No. Can we hit queen on the second run? No. And just like that, I know it's part of the game, happens all the time. But for some reason, at 10NL, I've had that happen over and over and over again. I can't hardly remember ever being on the right side of it. At 5NL, it's generally been the exact opposite. I've been on the right side of it disproportionate amount of the time. 10NL, for some reason, so far it's been like that all the time. Turning the two pair there with ace five, and I think we can bet here as well. Don't think he's going to have a deuce very often. Just go for I think maybe a third pot. I think that's a bit large. Yeah, a half pot is. I guess that's okay. I think it might be. Oh, what are we doing? Oh, Jesus. Clicks on 2/3 pot, clicks on half pot, and then checks. God, there is work to be done. There is work to be done. But this session, which ended up being a losing session of $5.75, pretty much all on that Queens versus Aces hand. Other than that, I think it was okay. But there are lots of mistakes still going on. Work to do. Appreciate anyone who's still watching or anybody that watched any at all. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.